Hello, we're back today. A bit of a lecture today on a video. Choo train. By the YouTube account Peter Weatherall, which I'm going to assume that's a real name. Peter Weatherall. Uploaded November 25th, 2008. Jumping Jellybeans is the company that produced this. It's available digitally. It's available on disc as well, as you can see here. 2 hours of original music and animation. 5.3 million views. 5.3 million views. With a 2.6 thousand likes. So, that right there is a terrible like to view ratio. So first we need to calculate this. We need to convert millions to thousands. So 5.3 million is really going to be 5,300 thousands. So we're going to put likes over views because we want to do a like to view ratio. So we're going to do 2.6 over 5,300. Which is going to be 0.0049056603. So converting this to simplest form, it will be roughly 0.0004905 likes per one view, which is a horrid rate. That is really bad. That is really bad. But all this to say, it is a kid's video. So we're going to erase all this for now. Probably shouldn't have erased the lecture tab, but it's okay because we're just going to jump into the video here. Does this have like a click feature? It doesn't. So we're going to have to do this awkward erasing every single time we want to erase something, which is fine. Okay, go back to our pen here. We're going to start the video up. As you can see, we'll rewind to the beginning. 1 minute, 36 seconds of video to watch today. Jumping Jellybeans TV DVD, Peter Weatherall, www.kidsinglish.com, info@kidsinglish.com. So we're going to kind of start here a bit with this kind of blue background with these clouds, and we'll get into this train in a minute. Blue background with these clouds. So we kind of have like, kind of have the green. How do I switch my color? Okay. We have the green. And then we have the blue background. And then we have some clouds here. So obviously a very simple scape. It's going to be more of a kind of childhood. It's going to aim to childhood. It's going to aim to simplicity. It's going to aim for easy recognition. Not even aim for, it's just going to kind of aim. These are what it's going to kind of give off. Childhood, simplicity, easy recognition. It's a simple background. It's easy to recognize. It's kind of nostalgic looking, but it doesn't, the main thing is that it does not take away. You're not hung up on the background of this video whatsoever. It does not take away from kind of the whole thing, from the whole ideas here. Simple background. This bar is still going to be up. We're going to get a bit into the, I'll turn the captions on for this. So immediately we're going to have kind of a trumpet here. Let's see if I can draw one. Something like this. I'm no artist, but you know, a trumpet. And it's going to be like kind of giving off this light tune. And although I do not have the exact notes pulled up, it's going to be a very simple tune. It's just going to kind of be, we'll take a listen here. We're going to ignore the vocals for a minute. So we just kind of got a cycle of the thing here. So the structure of this song is going to be roughly A, A, B, B, C, C, 1 C. So it's going to be ba 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 ba, and then the vocals are going to come in here. Ba 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 ba. And we got the next section. Now this is gonna be the chorus. Even though all of it is repeated. But these are the verses. The chorus. And we got the now it's time to stop and see what fruit we got, which we'll get into. Not ba da 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 da. Wait, so sorry. I messed up actually. It's going to be da 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 da, and then it's gonna be A B C C. It's gonna repeat, so it's gonna be ba da 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 da. They are blueberries, put them on the train. They are blueberries, let's head off again. So it's gonna be A the ba 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 ba. And then it's gonna be B, ba da 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 da, and it's gonna be they are blueberries, put them on the train. They are blueberries, let's head off again. So you're gonna see how it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, B, C, C, and we're just gonna kind of repeat this, as you'll see, for the rest of the song. But let's go back to the beginning real quick because we have some more stuff to analyze. First off, this train. See if we can get a better look at this. So the train, here, yeah. So this is probably the best view we're gonna get of the full train with this box kind of gone. The train is kind of here, and it's rolling on a lack of train tracks. There are no train tracks whatsoever. As you can see, it's just gonna be blank ground right here. 0 train tracks. And this is an heir to the simplicity. As is the background, it's too much to have train tracks, sometimes. We can also see that this was made in some kind of web software. Specifically, one is added more because you can see here, if we zoom in, we have a bit of the gradient on the wheels and a supposedly pre-made gradient here that kind of goes from blue to white, and then a bit of more complicated thing here with a shadow. But you can see how that is majority a template. It's going to be a template. So this was clearly it's a low effort. It's two-dimensional, which is a main thing. I don't know why I'm still in blue. I'll switch back to black, but it's two-dimensional, which adds to the simplicity. So these both head to it, as well as the background. It's going to be simplistic, and that's the main idea, because it is for kids. You got to remember, that is one of the main things, is that this is all for kids. So that begs the question: why? We have this smoke coming out of the smokestack. We have smoke, and this smoke it's quite complicated looking smoke. Even more complicated than this. Add some black, and you get the idea. But that's a very accurate smoke. So all of this is going to lead us kind of to wonder, why? If we have, why focus on simplicity? Even the melody that we discussed earlier is simplistic. Why focus on simplicity and then lead to something more complicated, which is going to be our smoke? And we'll see another aspect of this later. We'll see that smoke is actually going to be a huge part of nostalgia, especially when it comes to trains, because many young children like trains. And one of their main features is, of course, the smokestack. It's very impressive. It's characteristic. Lots of things have wheels, lots of things have carts, but a smokestack is very specific to trains, very specific to boats as well. Although boats are going to be less seen. So trains are going to be more common. It's specific. All of this is mundane. The background is mundane. The train, mundane. And the lack of train tracks, mundane. But this smoke is very characteristic. It jumps out at you. It does not follow the same pattern as the two-dimensional line. There is some... You can see it. You see it. It billows. It billows. It's not just... And most of this is, besides the gradients, most of this is solid color. This is not. This is opaque. You can see the cloud through it. Or not opaque, sorry. This is translucent. You can see the cloud through it. It's hazy. So this smoke is going to be a very important characteristic overall. Let's continue more into this video. So, we had a transition there that I want to quickly discuss. Kind of like this. We'll give it a replay in a second. Transition. So, the way this works, this transition, So that's about the transition that I want to talk to, then about the actual development. But this transition, as you can see, it's kind of like this ripple effect, which was common around the time, and owes more to the software aspect. But this gives us a third-person omnipotent point of view, which is going to be important because you can see that this train kind of gets away from us. We are going to be able to just come right back to it with the transition. So this aspect is going to be, whoa, it's going to be very important to today's lecture, that we are kind of in the driver's seat, no pun intended. Really regret zooming in on this. There we go, we're back. This is going to be a very important aspect of this video, that we are in a third-person omnipotent view. So we're going to take a look here at the front of the train, briefly. It kind of looks like this. There's the rest of the train. Now if you had to take a look at this, what would you say that this looks like? I'll even turn it up a little bit. Maybe there's some wheels as well. What does this look like? That is correct. It's going to be Thomas the Tank Engine. And we're going to Google a reference photo here. So this is going to be kind of a classic view here. Also this one. Even in the older book series, that they have these faces. You know, this specific grayish white hue. All the characters have this, and this was very popular show around the time. With the new release, because this is the oldest version, they had the kind of newer release. The books and the older version, they had kind of the newer release with this style, which was kind of partly real, and they had the full animated version, which I don't have a picture of here. But you get the point. And then, yeah, and then this even later, Thomas and Friends. But that is all besides the point. Basically, this is referencing that potentially this character does have a face, and that this is leaning more into that aspect because it is a kid's show. See, it all goes back to kid's show. It all goes back to a kid's show. We have the face here, and it does look a lot like a Thomas the Tank Engine face. So that's left up in the air, but it's kind of like a general theme. So I think at this point we're going to dive into these lyrics a bit here. So first lyrics opening here, we have Choo, Choo, Train. We're going to start with these. Choo Choo is obviously going to be kind of a child's traditional view of a train whistle. Obviously, choo choo, that's the train whistle, as vroom vroom is a car. And obviously train, because we have a train, so this is going to be our noun here. Choo choo train. So it's going to be like a choo choo train, even though there's no such thing as a choo choo train. A choo choo train is going to be more of a child's representation of a train as it is together as a noun. But breaking it down into its parts, it's the child's representation of a train whistle. It's a train. So a child may call it, it's a choo-choo train. So that's what that is, and it's going to be using it as a noun to kind of establish its existence. And then it's going to go into an interesting thing here. fruit, fruit. Now, one might see fruit, fruit, and think that it is very similar to toot, toot, which is true, and it is kind of a play on words here. Fruit, fruit train, toot, toot, and it's unexpected because it establishes its individuality, establishes how this is going to be unique. It's not just about choo-choo trains, as it leads you to sing in the title, because it's just called choo-choo train. It's fruit, fruit, instead of toot, toot, because trains, that's another common representation of train whistles, especially by children. And so it distinguishes itself immediately with fruit, fruit, and it leaves the viewers kind of in your third-person omnipotent view. It leaves you interested, because why is it saying fruit, fruit? We don't know yet. I mean, it's just an ordinary train. We'll get into why. But that is immediately distinguished itself, and it's a play on words. So it is an onomatopoeia, as well as a play on words. Because toot changes to fruit, and we'll see why soon. So we have this, we have the tune. So I said it was A, B, C, C. Fruit, fruit, train, toot, or fruit, fruit, see, what are you expecting? Fruit, toot, toot, choo, choo, train, fruit, fruit, choo, choo, train, fruit, fruit. Well, okay, so yeah, the first two are going to be the tune, and the second two are the lyrics. So, tune, lyrics. Okay, so here we're going to get into this. So our A, B, we have our B, which is all becomes lyrics. So we have the start of the first verse. That's going to be the chorus. It's going to be the toot, or the choo-choo train, fruit, fruit, choo-choo train, fruit, fruit. That is going to be our chorus. That's going to be the chorus. So the A, the latter half of the A section is chorus. We'll notice that we don't have any rhyming yet. Not yet. As it's gonna go choo choo train, fruit fruit. We don't have any rhyming yet. Even fruit technically does rhyme with fruit, but it doesn't necessarily count. I don't know what that was. So yeah. So we're gonna arrive here. That's our next lyrics. Now it's time to stop and see what fruit we've got. So this establishes a couple things in the world building. In terms of lyrics, we have our first rhyme. Even though stop and got don't technically rhyme, said with in such a way, they rhyme close enough. So we'll put in quotations, but it's enough of a rhyme for us to count it for the purposes of this lecture. So now it's time to stop and see what fruit we've got. So this is going to establish, or actually we'll look at this here first. We have the blueberry station. So it's going to be a large sign with poles, wooden poles, that says Blueberry Station in Comic Sans. White background, same pole, what is likely just a smaller version of the pole, and 3 purple blueberries right here, hanging off the edge. And we'll get into this. So this train, based on what we see here, these kind of lines are a bit of in a juxtaposition. Almost. In a non-traditional sense, they're almost juxtaposed to one another. Because it says, now it's time to stop. Now it is time to stop, which shows consistency. Now it's time to stop. The train clearly, regularly stops. Now it is time to stop. There could be a time when it doesn't, but you can kind of see these stations seem fairly permanent. You know, wooden poles in the ground, which also has the same texture for each one. So it is very, in this Comic Sans as well, and this box clearly plays into the whole, like, made in Microsoft Paint. Or Klecky.com. It shows consistency. Now it's time to stop. And it is said with such a manner that this is a very consistent thing. Now it's time to stop is very, you can see just the regularity of it. It's pretty, it could technically be in a place where the train isn't usually stopped, but in kind of the context, this station looks very permanent, obviously, as I mentioned. The station looks quite permanent. So likely they stop at this station regularly. The billboard, however, likely has temporary text. There are 2 routes we can kind of go about this. Either the station is permanent with temporary text that they change, and obviously it would be easy to change the fruit at the station. Or this is the first time, and potentially the only time that this train ever runs through here, and it's just for an experience. So this is all permanent. Because that leads into our next thing. And see what fruit we've got. And see what fruit we have got. See what fruit we have to pick up. Which is variability. So you can add that to your notes. It's going to be variability. There is extreme variability here. Consistency and variability. Now it is time to stop, very consistent, and see what fruit we've got, variability. What fruit will it be? It will be blueberries. So in our other thing, we have these lyrics, but it is all one experience. First and maybe only time we can kind of just imagine I get rid of that. The first and only time. And in this world, real or fake, in this scenario, the train runs through here regularly to pick up fruit, which would make sense, given that it's on the it has the permanent station, temporary text, changes at the fruit, as fruit would naturally mold, which is an important thing we'll get to soon when we start talking about the fruit. Or the station is always here, always blueberries, but it is the first time that they're going through, so they are kind of, because this shows consistency, but it could also just be like a direction, because it's the first time. But there could also be variability in this universe too, which is important. It's all nuanced. There could be variability in this universe, given, like, now it's time to stop and see what fruit we've got. But potentially it is the first time they're doing it, and the only time, potentially. On top of that, potentially. But it still could have variability. So this all is nuanced, is what I'm trying to get at here. And there are many different universes.